Since a young age, I've been obsessed with creating art. How can I make this? What can I do to bring that idea to life? And so on. Something about the act of creation gives me a sense of joy and fulfillment. I always dreamed of one day being an artist as an occupation, but I had no idea what that would look like. I assumed it would involve traditional art mediums like paint or pastels. Unfortunately, this path is often discouraged, so I did what's expected and went to university. I've been on YouTube, well, since the platform's advent. It began as goofy videos with my friends until it transformed into a vehicle for sharing my art. I wasn't trying to get a ton of views, I just wanted to share what I was doing with like-minded people. Literally no one watched though, so I never took it seriously. Instead, I randomly uploaded with no rhyme or reason. That was until a few years ago. Late in 2016, I made the second installment of the How To Terrarium series, the Closed Tropical Terrarium. As with most creators' early content, it was, super cringe.
Hi folks, how's it going? Without any delay, I'm back again with another installment of How To Terrarium.
Even though it aged terribly, the information and terrarium still hold up today. The presentation itself was actually intended to be serious, but I was still fooling around. In fact, I didn't go back and look at the video for a few weeks. That said, I never could have imagined the journey it would initiate once I did. At the same time, I was in a bit of a transitional phase of my life. I recently graduated from college and was working 2 part-time jobs in my field of study. They were fine, but I wanted a single full-time job. Like most young adults fresh out of college though, I couldn't seem to find one and I didn't know what to do next. That was until I returned to the aforementioned video with a few thousand views. Looking back, it seems silly, but this sparked a very interesting idea. What would happen if I start to upload more consistently? Wondering is fruitless though, so I took action. I began creating content on a regular basis in my spare time. I was having a lot of fun, but that was about it. I just wasn't thinking of it from an occupational perspective. However, a new challenge would soon change the narrative. I had been dating my girlfriend for several years by that point and wanted to get engaged. I couldn't just go and do that though. I had to get her parents' blessing and boy do I remember that day well. I just uploaded the 4th installment of the How To Terrarium series and it was getting decent traction. Excited by this, my spirits were high as I headed over to get the okay. They explained that they would feel better about the situation if I had a stable, full-time job first. It's not like I wasn't trying, but I just couldn't seem to find one. That's not what I expected to hear, but I had to respect their wishes. Looking back now, I honestly can't be happier with how that all went down, and I guess really in some ways, it had to. Since I couldn't find a job with my degree, I decided to look elsewhere. To my surprise, it didn't take more than a few days to find and get hired at a decent paying job. It certainly wouldn't have been my first choice, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get engaged and that's exactly what happened next. Just 2 short weeks after that, I was training for my new job. Ironically enough, the video I uploaded while training for this job was my first Animal Room tour, the 4,000 subscribers special.
Hey everyone, and welcome to a special walkthrough of my animal room.
It's ironic because I just uploaded the 2021 tour for last week's video.
Welcome. For those of you who are new here, my name is Tanner, and this is my animal room.
It's crazy to see just how much everything has progressed since then, both the quality of the content itself and my care for the animals I steward. Anyway, I was beginning to see promise in what I was doing. I was not yet convinced of anything, but I couldn't help but wonder. What would it be like if this turned into something more? Funny enough, I still hadn't even monetized the channel and wouldn't until much later. I actually felt guilty about doing it at first, but that all changed once I considered the effort I was putting into the content. Shortly after starting the new job, things began to change. I got very consistent and began uploading every Saturday. Other than a few random occurrences like last week, I've kept up with that schedule ever since. My mindset also started to adapt to the situation. I saw the slow progression of the channel and thought it could go somewhere. You know what? No, that's not true. I knew it would go somewhere. I don't know how to explain it, but something in me screamed, "You got this! You're going to make this happen." I suppose that it was me finally gaining true confidence of my abilities. With that newfound confidence, I was going to make this work as though my life depended on it, and I suppose in some ways it did. My office job was fine at first, but it didn't take long for the monotony to set in, and I became miserable. I just didn't get a sense of fulfillment in what I was doing. YouTube hardly paid anything then, and I had to make money somehow, so I just bit my teeth and continued onward. To be clear though, I still put my best foot forward in that position. I always do my best to work as well as possible, even if I don't like the job. I'm thankful to have worked that job because it was a motivator for me. I knew I couldn't go on like this for my whole life, so I worked even harder to achieve my goal of one day going full time on YouTube. These are some of the most difficult years of my life. I worked 40 hours a week in the cubicle while simultaneously working around 60 hours a week on YouTube. I'd wake up at 6 a.m., work on videos a little, go to work, get home around 5, cook dinner for my wife and I, and then usually work until around 2 a.m. All of that of course was added on top of my regular responsibilities. We were planning for a wedding, just bought a house, I was doing home renovations, yard work, taking care of the animals, etc. As I say that, it sounds totally ridiculous, but the truth is that I don't work much less now. I still work around 80 hours a week, but it's spread out over a more reasonable period of time, allowing for a somewhat normal life. Anyway, I did this for just over 3 years straight, and it was grueling to say the least. It was made worse knowing that I was losing time with my wife and family that I would never get back. I knew that I had to keep up the pace though. I was miserable at my day job and could only truly be happy creating art. And if I'm in a less than ideal state, how can I truly be good for anyone else? That's the part that people don't see. Everyone shows up for the triumphs and especially the fails. Not everyone is there for the entire journey though. Even fewer see the input that goes into the product, and you could argue that only the person doing it truly knows the extent of it. It's completely fine though, and honestly should be expected. The reality of life is that goals appear glamorous on the surface, but the road to get there is often far from it. Projects fail, and things typically don't go as anticipated. You gotta keep with the schedule though, so you push through. There were plenty of weeks when I had to start over on a Thursday and complete an entire project for the Saturday upload. The funny thing is that a lot of those ended up being some of my best videos. On the flip side, some videos that you're so excited about just don't perform how you expected. Unfortunately, numbers do matter to an extent. When you've put your heart and soul into something that flops, it can be really disheartening. That's part of the learning process though. Trial builds character and establishes passion. You'll only know if you truly love something if you stick with it even in times of trial. A few months after the 3rd year, I finally felt like I was in a position where I could do this full time. So I quit my office job. I put my 2 weeks in prior to that, but my actual last day was one of the happiest days of my life. I remember everything looking different as I drove home. I was in a state of peace, a state of contentment that has been with me to this day. This period of time taught me a lot of valuable lessons. In the past, I had low self-esteem because life is harsh. Taking control of my circumstances allowed me to achieve my goals and thus create my own path. In doing so, I have been filled with so much humility, confidence in myself, and probably most importantly, gratitude. What happened is that a pursuit which began as something for myself is no longer about me. It's not about Tanner. Sure, I'm the main character in my channel and the only one behind the creation of this work, but it's actually about the community surrounding it, the Serpa Squad. This is about making a positive impact on the world, no matter how small that may be. And all of this is happening from a tiny basement in the eastern United States. My goal has and always will be to provide the best content I can possibly produce. I'm dedicated to the relentless improvement of it and of myself. It's essentially a built-in failsafe to ensure I never get complacent. After all, what good are my abilities if I just keep them to myself? I never could have imagined that the channel would surpass 1 million subscribers. And I've honestly lost expectation for the limits. In reality, I still feel like the journey has only just begun. And you all should know by now that I'm seriously so thankful for all of your support over the years. Words can't describe how humbled I am by not only what you've helped me grow here on YouTube, but also as a person. Whether you've been with me since the beginning, tune in every now and again, or if you watch simply to dislike, you're all appreciated. You've all played a major role in this, and if you're still not subscribed, maybe we can change that here in a few minutes. Going back to 2013 is one of my earliest videos. In it, I made a mini 5-gallon vivarium for my now wife. I had a lot of fun doing it, and vivariums have since been a huge part of the channel. Sure, terrariums were essential to its growth and are something I absolutely adore, but vivariums hold a special place in my heart. And I can think of no better way to thank you for everything that you've done for me than with a handcrafted, lovingly built SerpaDesign vivarium. That's right, in commemoration of the 1 million subscriber milestone here on YouTube, I made this custom SerpaDesign style vivarium. For one of you to be specific. Although I've done giveaways before, I've never done anything to this magnitude, so let's take a closer look. At its core, this is just a standard PVC vivarium. It measures 20 inches wide by 20 inches deep by 24 inches tall without the canopy. Adding that on increases the height by 5 inches. I went with PVC because of its durability. However, it alone doesn't look good and certainly doesn't resemble one of my enclosures. To get the signature look, I covered the tank and canopy with an oak veneer and other boards. These were stained for character and sealed for durability. A piece of neoprene is secured on the bottom of the tank to act like a self-leveling mat. The canopy has ventilation on the top and is outfitted with an LED light bar. The lid is made from twin-wall polycarbonate. It includes ventilation near the front to minimize condensation on the glass. I added other holes near the middle as well. I didn't go overboard with ventilation though because I want this enclosure to be able to retain humidity. We don't want the air to get stagnant though, so I'll also include some circulation fans. That said, I didn't have all of the necessary hardware to properly install these. I'll get them situated prior to shipping it out. The background was custom carved and painted to look like a muddy wall of sorts. I included some cork bark on the back piece as well. I kept it isolated though, so there's room for you to do some scaping of your own. I'll also include a few components you'll need to create your design. Leca for the false bottom, geotextile for the drainage barrier, a bag of my custom substrate, and some oak leaf litter. I'd love to provide more, but I think that should be good enough to get you started. I'm limited though because there's no way I could ship this internationally. I don't want to exclude my international audience from participating though, so I'll include a separate prize for all of you. I had to buy most of the materials for this build, but some of the general items were left over from other projects. There's really no way for me to calculate the value of those, so I can only estimate. What I came up with was a total of $419.50 for the items that I could account for. I estimate the additional items to be around $50, so I'll just round up to $475 in total. What that means is that if you live within the contiguous United States, then you could potentially get this tank. If you live within a different country, Alaska or Hawaii, then you could get $475 US. I think that should make things as fair as possible. The next steps are on you. All you need to do is subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, like the video, and leave a comment letting me know where you're from. That way when I run the comments through a random generator, I can appropriately select 2 winners. On December 23rd, I'll send all of the comments through this video into the randomizer in order to select the 2 winners. On that Saturday's upload, which is 2 days later on the 25th, I'll actually reveal who the winners were and give you all the details that you got to do in order to redeem your prize. So what do you say to 3/4 of you who continue to search out and watch my videos without subscribing? I think now would be a good time to do so. No shade, I love you all the same. In all seriousness though, I'm so incredibly excited to share this with you all. I've been working on it for quite a while now, and when I was going through ideas on what I could do for a 1 million giveaway, this is what kept popping into my mind. Some sort of build, some sort of project that I built myself and sent to one of you. And as I was going through the ideas, I thought, what better than with an awesome plywood style looking vivarium. Obviously it's PVC on the inside for the reasons I mentioned earlier, but it looks like one of my wooden setups because that's kind of like my signature look. And as I was designing this, I tried to make a size that would be adequate for a lot of different animals and for whoever wins this, if you need any sort of modification, like you want to put UV in the lid or something like that, just let me know. We can go through all of it. I'll modify it as needed before I send it out to you. I gotta keep it real with you though. Although I tried to make this as perfect as I possibly could, like all of the projects in this room, if you take a really close look, you're gonna notice imperfections here and there. But I guess that's part of it and part of art. A finished work with the echo of human touch or personality on it, I don't know, kind of cool if you think about it. Anyway, I cannot thank you all enough for your continued support, love, and kindness over the years. You've all been an integral part in this channel's growth, and I'm so appreciative of it. I had a lot of fun making this video and making this enclosure, especially knowing that it's going to go to one of you. I also hope that you enjoyed hearing a little bit of my backstory here on YouTube. I talked about a lot of details in this video that I never really discussed openly before, so I hope that for some of you who are pursuing your dreams and your passions, it kind of serves as a little bit of an inspiration for you. And that's kind of like one of the takeaways that I wanted you all to get from it. You know, just follow your passions in life. It's too short to be doing something that you don't find fulfillment in doing. And I guess in some ways, you know, this is a dream come true. I cannot believe that I do this for a living, but I'm so thankful for it. But that's all I got for you all in this one, Serpa Squad. Thank you so much for tuning in to the end. I'm getting all choked up here. Stay tuned to the 25th because that's whenever I'm going to reveal the winners to the giveaway on this one. But that's all I have for you in this one. Until next time, Serpa Squad, take care and peace.